Salve a tutti ragazzi, io sono Fail e dopo tantissimo tempo siamo su The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Allora, The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, perché si dice così, è un gioco dove tu c'è un narratore, diciamo così, tu dovrai seguire la storia del narratore, ma potresti fare anche altre scelte, quindi ci sono un sacco di finali, scelte da prendere sono tantissime e io cercherò di farvele vedere il più possibile in questi episodi. Cercherò di fare uscire più episodi possibili, almeno uno a settimana, ma io direi di iniziare subito.
Is the story of a man named Stanley.
Mm.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders
Interessante.
came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Era un coglione.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something
Wow.
that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not
Normalissimo.
one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No
Oddio.
one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from
Quando
his
tornò in
desk
sé
and
aveva
stepped
30
out of his
anni
office.
in più. Ah, ok, siamo entrati nel gioco. Allora.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Oddio, dove sono i
Stanley
miei
decided to go to the
colleghi?
meeting room.
Oddio
Perhaps
ragazzi,
he'd
dove
sent them
saranno
this
mai?
memo.
Andiamo alla sala riunioni. Allora, questo gioco, cioè, come ho detto prima, ci dà tantissime possibilità. Tipo lì c'è una porta aperta. E lì c'è un'altra porta aperta. Comunque, quindi, ogni scelta che noi facciamo potrà avere una cosa molto brutta sulla storia, o molto bella, dipende da come vedete. Andiamo avanti comunque.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ma visto che io sono un bambino speciale, non so distinguere da destra dalla sinistra e quindi vado a destra.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ammiriamo questa stanza.
Yes, truly a
Allora,
room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood
quanto
up,
cazzo
greeting
parli
it all,
però?
but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door
Allora,
on his left.
io sono tentato di andare di qui, ma sono tentato anche di andare di lì, ma anche di andare lì. Vabbè, andiamo di qui ovviamente, perché devo fare quello che dice lui.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
Oh,
incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
sì, è quello che ci chiamo.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Ma cosa succede,
I
Cado?
realize that investing, but in his eagerness to
Ah,
prove that he
muoio.
is in control of
Giustamente
the story
muoio.
and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death.
Sono
Good
morto.
job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Eh sì, è potentissimo Stanley. Ah, proprio ricominciamo da capo, se moriamo. Bene. Quindi torniamo avanti.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
Ah,
meeting
posso
room.
chiudere e aprire le
Simply
porte.
misguided.
Amo chiudere e aprire le porte. Ok, no, eh. Posso aprire questa porta? No, no. Ci siamo. Mm. Io ho cliccato cose. Questo l'ho spento. Bella la foglia è potente. Questo non si apre.
When
E
Stanley
siamo
came
di
to a set
nuovo
of two
qui.
open doors, he entered the
Ora.
door on his left.
No, no. Io vado a destra perché sono un
This
bambino
was not the
speciale.
correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, io vado dritto. Però stavolta, ragazzi, non ci
Stanley was so bad at
uccidiamo.
following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Allora, stavolta
Look,
no,
Stanley, I think perhaps
potremo
you're
andare
copying
lì
on the wrong
effettivamente, potremo
foot.
andare
You
lì.
really are
No, no,
not.
dai, stavolta
I
cerchiamo di
realize that investing
seguire
your
la
trust in
strada.
someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this
Ma quella
time.
porta si apre, io sto per
There's
cadere.
someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Stop trying to make
No, non
every
mi
decision by
ricordo
yourself.
che
I'm not asking for me.
tutte le persone che
I'm
tengo
asking for
rinchiuse
you. This is it, Stanley.
in
Your
albergo
chance to
sono
redeem
vive.
yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. He's been waiting.
Cosa sto aspettando? Oddio, c'è un telefono.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be
Ma
the
posso
one to
staccare
do
la
this, to
spina?
reach out to her. If you can truly
Vabbè,
place
dai.
your faith in another.
Cosa succede ora? Ma dove ci troviamo? Salve. No. Cosa sento? Ecco, no, che Dio, che no!
Gotcha.
Sì, ma no, che bastardo, era un prank.
Who'd want to commit their life to you?
No, ma povero Stanley.
I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Salve.
This is a very sad story about
Non
the
devo
choice of
censurarle
lives,
nel
too.
manichino. Buongiorno, impiegato 4 ministro di disposizione del Stato.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential
Ma
nature
no,
of his existence.
poverino, posso andare via? Sì.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back.
Che abbiamo capito, sempre
One
bastardo,
that even feels
narratore.
sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
E no, invece abbiamo M. Abbiamo B. V, C, D, I, T. No, dove forse premere N.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
Ma
From
lo
behind
faccio
his
per ore.
desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown,
Sì.
fantastic discoveries of new lands.
Perché?
It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own. First, he imagined that one day when he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his coworkers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door.
Raga, io vado a prendermi un caffè intanto perché non lo so, cioè...
Ma
non mi riuscivo.
wonderful to behold.
Ragazzi, siamo intrappolati qui.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path
Io
led
prima o poi
enormous
clicco dappertutto, prima o poi qualcosa
with
succede.
monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby.
Bambino? No. Siamo qui family friendly.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free.
No?
Surely there's an answer down some
Quante
new
pippe
path.
mentali si fa
Maybe,
questo
perhaps if he
narratore?
played just one more time.
Stavolta non faccio niente. Stavolta non faccio niente. Sto fermo, così. Poi vedere se succede qualcosa.
Here,
No?
watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Allora, lui mi ha detto di non farlo, però io ho la tentazione di farlo.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Come puoi? Ma se non lo faccio davvero cosa succede? Io, vabbè, premo qui. No.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time.
No, non
And I
capirà.
tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Sono morto? Sono morto! Bello! Altro caricamento. Andiamo avanti.
All of his co-workers were gone. What
Ancora.
could it mean? Stanley
Boh, non lo
decided
so.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Stavolta invece... Allora...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he
Andò
entered
quella a
the door on his
sinistra, va
left.
bene. Proviamo a fare quello che dice lui. C'è una sala riunioni, cosa ci potrà mai essere?
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Tipo, no,
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
No, perché io sono un bambino speciale e mi piacciono i consigli.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
No, io resto qui. Guarda che belli queste chiavi inglesi, che bello questo arte americano, che bella questa cosa in cui questo vecchio, che bello questo qui.
No reason to still be here.
No, io rimango qui, o dico no. Guarda, qui c'è pure un bel castello dove dormire per il barbone a vita.
Baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it
Sì,
is,
posso
he's literally
dormire
just
su questo
standing there
cartonato,
doing
bello essere
sweet
barboni.
buffet.
Posso pulire, che bello. No?
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Sì, mi piace il
Around doing
postiglio.
nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Perché è bello il postiglio. Tu hai detto che è bello il postiglio. Allora, guarda, qui c'è una sega, ci dovrebbe essere una sega.
If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance.
Invece sì, è importantissimo per la storia, dovrò pure dormire nella storia. Porca di quella porca. Ma io rimango
Maybe
qui.
to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite."
Beh, sì, ovvio, è il mio favorito. Guarda, ci dice un bel tubo, tubo, chiave inglese, tubo, tubo, tubo.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really
No,
stupid.
ma
He
vaffanculo.
probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is.
Mio zio faceva l'operaio.
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
No, ma no, non è vero, non è vero.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
Sì.
You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation
Sì,
like this,
sì.
the responsible
Salve
party
ragazzi,
should
sono
have
il
something
nuovo The Gamer
nearby
Fail,
so as
quello
to
di prima è
ensure your
morto,
body
come
is
dice il
taken care of
narratore.
before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities.
Ah,
It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and
salve,
filling
sono
their
il nuovo The
minds
Gamer
with
Fail,
narrative
sono il
threads
bambino
of your
speciale per un
gameplay,
a caso.
so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All
Non
right,
so cosa
when you've
sia,
done
non
that,
so
just
cosa
step
sia
out into the
l'economia.
hallway. Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee
Salve.
you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
E invece no, perché pure il secondo era scemo e
You
ritorno
too.
dentro.
Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus?
Guardi, se poi c'è il mio
You
gatto,
can
però
hammer
non so
out
se
the
è
details.
capace.
I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Cosa succede se rimaniamo fermi qui? In teoria dovrebbe esserci un finale. No, vabbè, raga, usciamo, dai. Chiudiamo pure che siamo educati.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to
E
his
invece
boss's
no, io
office.
scendo. Io scendo perché mi piace scendere. È meglio scendere che salire, ragazzi. E qui c'è un cartone dove dormire, che bello. Sus, qui c'è qualcosa, no. Allora, qui c'è un'auto.
Stanley just got a thought. He
Chiediamo in
considered
prestito
the
l'auto.
possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He
No?
might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he
Uscita.
believed every
Devo dover
word
uscire?
vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Eh sì,
All
siamo
of my
tutti pazzi in
coworkers
questo mondo.
blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense.
Esatto.
And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
No,
Stanley
non
said to
fare
himself,
il
this is all
bastardo.
too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have
È
finally
un
found
monologo,
an
non ho
answer,
capito.
an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Invece.
He thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this
già.
while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to
Ah,
gently
dobbiamo
float.
continuare così, a lungo oppure
Then
precipitare?
he imagined
Ma
himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared.
no,
It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head.
quale?
One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself
Sì, ma
sooner.
quale?
Why is there a voice in my head dictating
Giusto,
everything?
questo è un giusto motivo, ma se...
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that
Come
if
non è un
he's asleep,
sogno?
he doesn't have to
Non
take
mi stavo
responsibility for
illudendo,
himself?
è un sogno.
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too.
Oddio.
Surely, if he could just...
C'è tutto un complotto.
He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently. And he
No,
invited
non
himself to
chiudere gli
wake up.
occhi.
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of the
Apri gli
world
occhi.
outside this one.
Non è vero.
Let me wake up.
No, non lo sto dicendo,
I'm
svegliati.
through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
No, non è vero.
Let me go back to my
E
job.
niente.
Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please.
E niente, ragazzi, il altro finale.
I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Ok. Appunto. The M, dove ci troviamo?
Stanley began screaming.
Ah!
Someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am
Niente,
real. I
raga.
must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Niente, il narratore è impazzito insieme a
And
Stanley.
it went black.
Nero, così a caso. Diventò tutto nero.
This is the story of a woman named
Ma?
Mariella.
Ma perché?
Mariella woke
Oh,
up
no.
one day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place
Ma?
of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man
My
who
God.
stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself.
No.
Then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man.
Ma no.
He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be
Ma
normal.
no.
I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Ma
It was
quindi è tutto un
comforting to think
sogno.
this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
Ma.
No time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
Beh,
And
certo.
then she turned and ran.
Tutto normale. Tutto normale. Di nuovo qui. Sono Mariella o Stanley ora però?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Beh, 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 e 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 beh. New content? Non vuoi metterci new content? Mm. Mm. Sarei tentato, ma no. Lo faremo in un prossimo video, perché
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his
a
left.
destra.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Lì si è aperta una porta, però, Lì si è
I
aperta una
realize that investing
porta.
your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the
Allora,
fact
ragazzi,
is
ora
that
voglio
this
provare ad
story
andare
is
lì.
about nothing but you.
Ok, ce l'ho fatta.
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration
Esatto,
for
non c'è
others?
nessuna
Are you
considerazione per gli
convinced that I
altri.
want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
No,
Look, let me prove it.
No.
Let me prove that I'm on your side.
no.
Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No al blu.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Mi piace il colore blu. Il blu è
I
bello.
still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Sono tentato perché sono curioso di vedere cosa c'è lì. Ma sicuro se entra nella fregatura dovrebbe andare il blu.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't
Sì,
let
sono
me stop you.
curiosissimo.
You see?
Ah,
There's
il
nothing here.
vuoto.
Haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place.
Sì,
Broken
invece,
rooms,
sì, sì,
exposed
sì,
developer
sì.
textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth
Sì, sì,
ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
sì.
Do you not think I put a lot of time into that?
No, non è vero, ci sono messo 2
And in the
minuti.
end, it was all for nothing because this is what you wanted to see.
Ma ovvio, guarda che bella scatola.
Elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see?
Sei un po' incazzato, eh.
Skill trees?
Ma i
Work with
veicoli,
me,
le
you give me
abilità, gli alberi,
absolutely
sicuro
nothing so
avrebbe diventato
far.
tutto più bello,
I'll tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some
Mai fare
feedback.
cosa alla cieca.
There we go. A third option.
Io prendo la
This
porta a
one feels
sinistra.
leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game
Potremmo
benefited from
mettere
allowing you more
uno,
choices? Feel
uno.
free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Oppure per mettere 5, 3, 4, ma io metterò proprio uno.
One? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a one?
Sì, un
That's
uno.
not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park.
Che
Let's
sborrone.
take a look.
The Stanley Parable. Ah, sarebbe una specie di headboard. Ah sì. E vabbè. Perché c'è Mussolini? Perché c'è un Mussolini, un ratto morto e poi ci sono io? Mm. Perché c'è Mussolini e poi ci sono io? Mm. Non ne voglio parlare.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and that
No,
would be a
ma
lovely
no.
opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Sì che mi dispiace.
Let me boot it up.
Niente.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger.
Mi dissocio da tutto questo. Ragazzi, mi dissocio da
You
tutto.
fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing
Come
it for
4
about 4
ore.
hours. So why don't you give it 4
No,
hours
ma
of
anche
play
no,
to
ma
make sure it's effective? Be sure
lo
to take notes on your
lascio
experience.
andare al caldo il bambino. Ma poi guarda che brutto rumore che fa. Guarda che bruttissimo rumore che fa. Ragazzi, non fatelo a casa. Scherzavo, non fatelo a casa.
Heartless.
Ma no!
Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite
Entrambi.
me?
Entrambe le
Because if
cose.
it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas.
E
I
nel
can't
primo?
think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. It's over.
No, non dai, non ti scoraggiare
Your
così.
input was extremely valuable.
Ah, di niente.
Since my game was so awful,
Ma
why don't you play
no.
someone else's game?
Ma
Excuse
no,
the
non
pig.
si rubano i
Let's see.
contenuti.
What do we have
Birichino.
here?
No, non si rubano i contenuti. Birichino.
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's
No,
give it
no,
a
no, no,
shot.
no, no, no. Dove ci porta? Dove ci porterà? Ma
Fascinating.
ma io questo gioco lo conosco, non l'ho mai portato sul canale, ma l'ho visto su YouTube.
Well, it
Sapete
seems
chi è?
obvious to me
Da uno
that
youtuber che
you
nessuno
play as a
conosce, proprio
criminal,
nessuno.
spying on innocent civilians
Ma
below
no,
you.
non era proprio
I know
quello.
big time.
No,
Perhaps
ma
for
non
some
trattava la
sort of
storia.
twisted erotic purpose.
No.
Yes,
Sì,
that
sicuro.
must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity.
Ma no.
So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Quindi praticamente sta dicendo che io sono libero, libero ragazzi, sono libero. Andiamo, veloce.
Oh no.
Sì,
No,
invece che può
this
essere
can't be.
libertà. Andiamo in mezzo ai boschi.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God,
Sì, lo
Brutto,
è.
block it off.
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no, no.
thank goodness,
Ero
Stanley.
libero.
Close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing, that big open, just
È
wandering around,
bella
no
quella
right or wrong
vastità,
directions,
camminare
no
lungo e
path to
largo.
follow. You can just go
Sì,
any.
bellissimo. No, no, non vomitare, mi
Oh,
dissocio.
good heavens, we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley.
No, no, no,
Okay,
no,
I'm
no.
going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big,
Ma
insurmountable
no.
walls. Mm-hmm.
Preferisco nuove world, sinceramente.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Ma siamo su Rocket League.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had
Mm.
in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost
E
here.
oddio,
Now, this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be
Beh, in effetti.
phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see.
Beh, ci sono delle
There's a cars
macchine.
here in the back, but obviously there's no race.
No, no, ma quelle auto non vanno
I'm
bene,
seeing that there's a
dammi le auto,
ball
anche senza
sometime
questa
back
va
here.
bene.
Is this game sports ball?
Sì, ecco la palla, è
Sports
auto,
ball.
è auto.
Fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley,
No.
here's the ball. Have fun.
Dove sta la palla? Oh cazzo, i tempi. Dove stiamo andando? Ui!
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun?
Cosa
Is
succede
that
se mi
my
butto?
miserable little story that I work
Beh,
so
tecnicamente mi
hard?
posso buttare.
Stanley, hold on. What are you doing?
Mi sto buttando, addio. Ah!
Stanley, don't do
Mi
that. I
sono
can't follow
rotto
you
in
here. I can't
ginocchia.
help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come.
E invece, no, niente. Cazzo! Sono caduto. E quindi moriamo. No, non proprio. Non proprio. Dove ci troviamo? In un film horror? In un gioco horror? Non siamo più su The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Non ci siamo più su quel gioco. Gioco tanto carino. Lì c'è una luce. Andiamo a vedere. Ah, questo sarebbe il mio ufficio. Che bruttino, eh. Bruttino, bruttino. Mm. Questo non c'era. Vabbè, torniamo indietro. Semplice. Si torna indietro. E cosa?
I wonder what he found.
Chissà cosa
If what he
fa.
wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me.
No,
Someone who will
non
wrap everything up
abbiamo
at the end,
bisogno di
make
te. Noi ci
sense out of the
ribelliamo,
chaos
ci
and the
ribelliamo.
confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this
Tornerà.
ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon.
No,
I can wait.
no, no. No, no. Quanto dobbiamo aspettare? Quanto dobbiamo aspettare? Ancora qui? No, ancora qui no. Andiamo
Office.
sopra.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Andiamo, cosa c'è di qui? Oh, lo... Cosa c'è qui? Because the boss... No, the what? The boss say the boss... Vaffanculo. Posso cagare? Visto il gioco posso cagare. Ah no, vabbè, è solo il bagno del Executive Bathroom. Posso aprire questa porta? Si apre questa porta. C'è un ascensore. Mm. Se salvi cosa succede? Vediamo un po'. Che bella musichetta. Ma questa è la voce del narratore o sbaglio? Sbaglio o non c'era prima questo? Ehi, quanto dura? Quanto dura? Salve, signori. Quanto cazzo è alto il piano? A quanto pare. Ma siamo di nuovo qui, è una fregatura. Io sono sicuro che c'è qualcosa che possiamo fare. No, niente. Sussen.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked,
Vino!
unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number.
Un pin su che minchia quanto è sicuro. Ma se sbagliamo un pin, tipo...
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
No, non si...
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
2845. Ragazzi, devo ammettere che me ne ero dimenticato di codice.
Incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad,
Mi
Stanley
ero
happened to
dimenticato di
input
codice.
the
Cosa
correct
succede?
code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Mm. Caricamento, solo caricamento.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a
Nah.
stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of
Oddio!
Why did he feel this now?
Mi trovo in Occidente,
It
non
had never
nel
occurred to him.
comunismo
This
russo.
question would not go unanswered for long.
Ma se torno sopra, cosa succede?
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me.
Sì,
Why
non
did
lo sapevi
Stanley
questo,
do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Ed eccoci qui arrivati. Torniamo indietro.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office.
Si può
Exactly
aprire?
the way it was before you got
No.
onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what
Cosa
it is.
succede se metto il
What a
codice?
decision you've
2,
made to come up here and look at the
8,
office
4,
again.
5.
This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's the
Niente.
keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Allora, di sotto non mi fa tornare, quindi da qualche parte dobbiamo andare. Boh, prima torna sotto ora. Ah, ok, ora sì.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up?
Sa come? Mamma, sono un genio, eh. Sono un genio.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward.
E invece no,
corridor.
perché rivado sopra.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No.
È perché sono
It's time
bastardo.
once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
Già. Vediamo un po', la suspense ti uccide. Nessun problema. C'è il The Gamer Fail che te la toglie subito, la maledettissima suspense. Vabbè, torniamo sotto. No, invece no. Dobbiamo andare forse di lì. Dan,
Oh my god. It's the
dan,
boss's
dan,
office.
rivelazione, chi se la aspettava?
This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
No, bastardo. Lo stava facendo apposta? Ci sta prendendo per il culo? Lo sta facendo apposta lui, no?
Okay, I'm ready.
Ok,
I'm
finalmente.
prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move
Sì, lo
forward.
so.
No,
Ah,
wait.
come no?
No, I need more time to
Ma
process.
che bastardo. Bastardissimo. The Stanley Parable. Please, hold. Bastardissimo. Lo fa apposta a vendicarsi. Ai, 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 ai.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Grazie per darmi del maestro. Ok. Raga, direi di tornare sotto, ma storto per sempre, dai. Non facciamo i bastardi fino alla fine.
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it?
Ma
I mean, sure, now
Ma
it's
dai, non prende
obvious,
in
but you have to
giro.
understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it.
Già.
That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is.
Ah.
A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling.
Che
It's
bastardo,
stale
per
and
il culo.
repetitive.
Proprio bastardo. Andiamo avanti. Cosa ci sarà mai di qui?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
No, io mi vado a sinistra. Perché sono
Although this
infame.
passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his...
Io ci vado comunque. Ho scelto di andarci. Andiamo a vedere.
The
Per
door
il
behind him
territorio.
was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get
No,
back
no.
on track.
Io vado avanti.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Già. Andiamo. Andiamo, Armory. Ahia, che male. Ah.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life
Dove mi
had
trovo?
no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture.
No.
He doesn't
No,
know
no,
the whole
no,
story,
no, 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 no.
trapped
Fammi scendere,
forever
fammi
in his
scendere, fammi
narrow
scendere.
vision of what this world is. Perhaps
Ma
his
no,
death was of
fammi
no
scendere.
loss, like plucking the eyeballs.
No, è una perdita.
So he resigned and willingly accepted this
No,
vile
no,
end
no, no,
to
no,
his
no, no, no,
brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
No, 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 sei un bastardo, sei un bastardo. Ma cosa?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator,
Ma?
as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Ma che cazzo?
In a single
Ma chi è
visceral
questa?
instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in
Ma
his
non è
body,
vero, sono vivo.
killing him instantly.
Ah! Ah, sono vivo, ma... The Stanley
And
Parable.
yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his
No.
office, as alive as ever.
Cos'è quel
What
punto?
exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Esatto, quello che ci dicono tutti. Ma dove ci troviamo? La Casa
When every
Bianca?
path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the
Certo.
same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Ma no! Ma no! Le due porte. Allora, la stanza con le due porte fu il primissimo pezzo del design di Stanley Parable. Una volta creato il resto del gioco, il resto del gioco emerse come sua estensione, un'esplorazione della contraddizione posta da questa stanza. Corridoio, il ritmo di questa sezione di apertura doveva essere preciso. Come questo corridoio è stato spostato e modificato per fare in modo che il giocatore arrivasse le due volte al momento giusto. Disposizione degli uffici. Questo progetto mostra gli uffici all'inizio del gioco. La strada degli uffici esterni alle due porte fu la prima parte del gioco a essere costruita. Le varie sezioni sono state aggiunte e modificate nel corso dello sviluppo, ma l'esecuzione di base rimane quasi identica alla prima versione. E mi sembra giusto. Questo è il museo di Stanley Parable. L'ufficio. Suoni dei pulsanti, una selezione dei suoni usati nel gioco quando vengono premuti dei pulsanti. Il suono è un mix tra il battito di un tasto da tastiera e un tono sintetizzato. Belli suoni, belli. Qua, l'ufficio. Allora, possiamo andare a sinistra. Raga, direi di andare a destra. Direi di andare a destra. Belli computer. Computer da ufficio. Oddio, degli anni, no, degli anni 70. Vediamo cosa c'è qui dietro. Escape, zona sotterranea. Una prima versione della parte del gioco che si svolge sottoterra. Bello.
Stanley pushed the big
Narrazione, scene tagliate. Kevin Bray, la voce del narratore, ha registrato i diari di tutto il gioco per circa 3 volte nel corso dei 2 anni di sviluppo. Questi sono degli estratti delle prime recensioni che non sono mai state nel gioco finale. Bello. Forse non dovevo trovarmi qui. Forse sì, chi lo sa, sì. Ufficio del capo. Immagini dalla fase di ufficio del capo. Ah, all'inizio era così, poi così penso, e infine è così. Orologio dell'ufficio. Finale della libertà. Questa era la primissima incarnazione del finale della libertà, nella versione alfa del gioco. Bello. Scrivania sarà in un certo periodo le senza per le vabbè, vabbè. Beh, ragazzi, non vi sto
Oh, look at these two.
a leggere
How
tutto.
they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Spento.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
No, non lo vedo.
Perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Infatti non riesco a vedere io. Ma?
Listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push
Ma?
escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game.
Ma
So as you
davvero?
move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever
No.
you do, choose it. Don't
Si
let
ferma,
time
vero?
choose
Si
for you.
ferma.
Don't
Si
let-
ferma! Non si è fermata stavolta. Dovevo premere esce ed uscire, come diceva, però non avevo voglia di farlo. Sono morto. Vabbè. Vabbè. Comunque, ragazzi, io direi che per questo video è tutto. Io vi saluto e ci vedremo nel prossimo video. Ciao! Il narratore è un bastardo.